Hey, everybody. It's Dr. Kyrin. Some of you know me, some of you are new friends, and some of you have been wondering where have I been for a few weeks. And I'm really having kind of a rebirth that I want to share with you because I want you to have what's possible for you. And I think that the path that I've been on really demonstrates a lot of that. A lot of you who do know me as a board certified OBGYN for over 30 years, someone who really struggled with her own health in her 40s, weighing 243 pounds, having chronic fatigue where all I had was energy to sleep and work, even though I was a wife and a mom. I had my hair falling out. I had anxiety and depression so severe. I was on 5 medications at one time for that. I had gastritis, irritable bowel. I had many of the symptoms of midlife metabolic mayhem, which is part of what we're going to be talking about. So some of you know me from that and know that all my patients were struggling with the same things, all women at midlife. This is what is the topic of every book club and party we get together in is, oh my gosh, as I'm aging, I'm having all these symptoms that I can't deal with, and my doctor's just not helping me. And I was that doctor who wasn't helping her patients and couldn't help herself. But I finally found the way when I found functional medicine and a root cause resolution approach. I lost 100 pounds, got off all the medications, hair grew back, sex drive back, gut healed, all the things, right? So that's what I've been sharing with you over the past few years is my journey. And I have programs around that many of you have participated with. And we did the Stop the Menopause Madness Summit. So some of you are old friends, but I really had an epiphany when I prepared for my TED Talk a few years ago, my TEDx Talk. And as I was preparing, I got with one of my colleagues and friends who really helped me come up with the name Stop the Menopause Madness for those 3 summits that many of you attended a few years back. And we were talking about Menopause, the musical, and how when you walk into that musical, they give you the fan and you see all these women are laughing as the characters are drinking coffee in the morning to wind up and wine at night to wind down and fanning themselves and have no sex drives, and how all the women in the audience were laughing. And my friend was in the audience and just tears were streaming down her face because she is so aware of the state of older women's health. And by older, I'm just saying over 35 is considered older. So that's a lot of us. And we were just saying, gosh, we've got to stop this madness. Yeah, we got to stop this madness. We've got to stop this menopause madness. And that was the name of the summit. So the podcast has really been focused around highlighting guests who could bring you credible, valuable, actionable information to help you empower yourself around your health. But when I was preparing for my TEDx talk, I really had this epiphany as many people were talking about, and a lot of people reach out to me and say, well, how do I balance my hormones? How do I balance my hormones in menopause? How do I balance my hormones in perimenopause, PCOS, PMDD, whatever your diagnosis is that you're struggling with? The question online that a lot of people are asking is, how do I balance my hormones? And I had this moment of clarity where I just realized there's no balance to be had if you're a woman over a certain age, because you are really in a state of hormonal poverty. And if you think about the term poverty, right, we usually talk about it in terms of finances. If you are impoverished financially, how are you going to balance your budget when you only have a few $100s coming in each month and you've got kids and a partner and a house and all the things? Sometimes there's no balance to be had. And that's when you get to, well, you're living under the poverty line. And that's the same for women certainly over 40, and a lot of times younger than that, 30, sometimes in 20s. Sometimes there is no balance to be had. And so what women are really dealing with is this state of impoverishment with their hormones, which leads to impoverishment in their health. And maybe that's you. And so that epiphany led to my TEDx talk where I talked about the consequences of hormonal poverty. I talked about getting to hormonal prosperity, We all know what financial prosperity is. We all want to get there. But most of us are not aware that our health challenges are due to hormonal poverty. So we don't even know that it's something we should be looking for. Do I have hormonal poverty? And we don't even aspire to hormonal prosperity because we don't understand that that's the state in which everything we want for our health happens. And so with that epiphany, I did the TEDx talk and really had this awareness when I brought this information to everybody. Some people took offense, let's just be honest. They took offense because they didn't like this concept. Being impoverished hormonally sounds like some state in which you can't get out of, and as if there's something to be ashamed of it. But I'm really a truth teller. And if we don't call it what it is and name it, we have no hope of fixing it. So we've got to name it what it is and stop all this nonsense about we're going to balance our hormones. We're not going to balance our hormones. We're going to get out of hormonal poverty and into hormonal prosperity. And that's going to get us what we want. So, I think it's Buckminster Fuller who's quoted as saying, if you have a huge problem to solve, you have an hour to solve it, you don't spend the hour troubleshooting answers. You spend 55 minutes coming up with the right question. And once you get the right question, usually the right question is pretty simple to answer in 5 minutes. And to me, the right question is when you ask for women over 40, what is the problem? And empowering the correct question that will get you an answer that will be valuable to you because it has the hope of getting you where you want to be is, why am I in hormonal poverty? And why am I in hormonal poverty? And if you ask those two questions in the 5 minutes of your 60 minutes, that will get you where you want to be. You've got to ask the right question. So along those lines, I see so many women struggling still with these problems. And I recently had to do my annual board recertification with ABOG, American Board of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. So as a part of that, we have to read 14, 20 articles, and when we have to answer questions about these articles. And every year, and I am shocked by the lack of, let me just say, actionable information in these articles that aren't focused around, what's the correct drug to use for this situation? What's the correct surgery to use for this situation? That's what they're all about, proving that this drug or this surgery is what's going to help women. And what I can say is, being a board certified OBGYN for over 30 years, is that this is not a drug or surgery problem. You're asking the wrong questions. And so I had to do it the other day, and it was exactly the same thing. And there's no hope for women in mainstream OBGYN. There just isn't. And I know I'm one of many out there saying this and finding a better way. But when your answer is drugs and surgery, and that is your only answer, and that's your big hammer, then everything you see looks like a big nail, and you want to hit it with drugs and surgery. But mainstream OBGYN has not found an answer to the problems that you're dealing with, that I was dealing with, that all my patients were dealing with. So this really led me to, now more than ever, I am on a mission to help you know the truth about your health and get tools, knowledge, tools, support that is going to get you out of where you are and into where you want to be, so that you can, I like to say, get off the couch, get back into your jeans, get back into life, but really to live your life as the person who it was intended for you to be in this life. And I do believe that each of us has unique gifts that we're meant to bring to this world. But you know what? You're not bringing your gifts if you're sitting on your assets, right? You're not bringing them. I know when I was back in my 40s and I had all these health problems, I had no energy to bring any gifts. I was just struggling to survive every day. And I know some of you are there too. I did the coffee in the morning, wine at night tango. Some of you are doing that and you think you're making it, right? Because I got my coffee, I got my wine, I got my chocolate, I'm good. And there's so much more available for you, but you don't even know it. And this is what I see online every day. Everybody's struggling. Like, what's the one supplement I need to take that's going to fix all my problems? What's the one diet I need to follow? It's going to fix all my health problems. It's not one supplement. It's not one diet. There's so much that you need to know. And I wish, I have a dream, I have a vision that in the future we will teach children in grade school about their bodies and their health and how their bodies work and what they need to do to keep healthy, right? It's probably not going to happen anytime soon because, the medical industrial educational complex has a vested interest in you not knowing these things. And we'll talk more about that too. But my dream is that we will all learn the things that I'm going to teach you about that you don't even know about your health, so that you can get out of hormonal poverty and into hormonal prosperity and not only live a fulfilling life, but bring the unique gifts that you have as solutions to the problems that humanity is facing right now. Dalai Lama is quoted as saying that the Western woman will save the world. And I really believe it's true, but it's not the Western woman right now who's struggling to figure out why she can't lose 30 pounds, why she can't get in her jeans, who's struggling to figure out how does she get legitimate energy that's sustainable and empowers her to do all the things that she needs and wants to do in her life. This is not what women are worrying about right now. 50 million of us in the US alone in menopause. And that's not only the whole hormonally impoverished population, because it's everyone in perimenopause with PCOS, with dysmenorrhea, with fibroids, endometriosis, infertility. It's a large majority of womanhood in our country and in many countries that are struggling with this. And so we can't save the world if we're struggling with how do we get our health straight. So I want to make this a no-brainer for you and help you figure out, what is it? Do I have it? And if I do, how do I get out of it? How do I get to the best health of my life? So we've rebranded the podcast and I've taken a little hiatus to really create this refocusing for you and the agenda and the outline that's going to give you the empowerment. So we're going to be talking about hormone prosperity, because I know the way. I am the hormone prosperity coach, and I want to teach you the way. So we've rebranded the podcast, the Hormone Prosperity Podcast, and the YouTube channel, Hormone Prosperity Coach. And I've created brand new programs to help you become empowered. And it's about so much more than I can bring to you in just this few minutes. But I hope you get the idea. We are going to ask empowering questions. I'm going to help you understand what are the empowered questions you need to be asking for your health so that you can get answers that will empower you to get where you want to be. So I'll be talking about this epiphany in more detail and really going to discuss it in a way that's going to help you to spark your own epiphany so that you can set fire to that thing inside you that's burning and dying to be expressed. So thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you next time.